What is up? It's me, Jed, and I'm back for another Meathead Minute. If you saw my polls last week, I asked questions about mental health relating to fitness and, if you use exercise to fight that, if you've experienced anxiety or depression. I was really happy to see the amount of engagement that got, like lots and lots and lots of responses, which was cool. Not cool that a lot of, vast over 90% of the folks that responded had experienced these things, but also over 90% of the people that answered on the do you use exercise to help that said yes. So that's a good thing. That means that it's common knowledge that exercise and activity can help with that. So I want to bring in some numbers and stuff, broad numbers, to kind of highlight actually how helpful it is. So if you're not highly trained, what's the quantity that you need to see mental health benefits? A quantity of exercise. And the good thing is that it's not much. It can be 10 to 20 minutes a day of light aerobic activity can boost mood levels and decrease symptoms of depression and anxiety. That's really awesome, especially, if you're in that situation and you don't want to do much. It can feel like moving a mountain to go do that, to go take a walk, but it doesn't take a ton, and that's good, because then once you get rolling, it's easier to keep going. So I looked at the data on aerobic versus anaerobic because, my own personal bias, I really don't want to go run a couple miles. I like to lift weights. So, awesome news. Cardio type exercise and resistance exercise produce almost the exact same effect in the body, as far as boosting the mood and lowering those symptoms, which was cool because it shows that broad spectrum, whatever your preference is for type of exercise, doing something can help in that situation. So I was really happy to learn that. I did not know prior to doing this that it was the same depending on the type of exercise. So that's great. So prevalence of mental health in just society at large now. This is a fun thing that I have learned that applies to me personally, but if you have any type of history of substance use in adolescence, your chances for depression or anxiety skyrocket. So hello, everybody from my generation that I hung out with as a lad. Yeah, probably gonna happen at some point. So I guess it's a good thing to be aware of. One of the other questions that I talked about on my poll was about body image, and this one's tough. Like, I'm not an expert on this. It's not something, body image specifically isn't something that's like really like brings me down. Like, I want to be leaner and healthier and bigger and have massive biceps and stuff, but not to a point where I would classify it as causing me symptoms of depression or anxiety. However, I had a lot of responses on that, and it was guys and girls. And so that's something that's important to remember, is I think a lot of time attention gets paid to the negative effects that, fitness media has on women, which is absolutely true. There's a lot of bad influence there, but it's really prevalent in dudes as well. And I think a lot of dudes might not even recognize it. So those that do, I'm glad that you recognize it, and let's try to work together to, be reasonable there. Some just points that maybe don't change anything in the immediate run, but if you can, start to understand these things, it might help with your own image issues and thoughts and stuff. So everybody that has that, super lean, shredded physique, either has rockstar genetics and has kind of always looked like that. They're on the sauce. A lot of people even lady like fitness influencers are a lot of times on some stuff, which isn't fair to those of us who buy their supplements and all that jazz. It's pretty morally yucky, but it is what it is. So learning that there's very few that are natty out there, that was something that helped me to realize, like, well, okay, maybe I'm not gonna be at 3% body fat, whatever. Learning about healthy body fat levels, that's also another big one. So I just use calipers to measure my body fat, and keeping track of that, one, it's a good health measure. So being over fat is not healthy for you in any sense of the word. It's not healthy. BMI in people that are highly trained can be tricky, because if you have a lot of lean mass, you can be in a situation where you are very, very lean, and be considered overweight or obese, so that's tough. But if you take body fat levels, then you'll know from a health standpoint. And it's nice to track that for your own, sense of accomplishment and stuff. I'm gonna do more on overfat in another Meathead Minute. And then the last thing I wanna bring is that, that shredded look, like being super shredded or super lean, or even like high output performance athletes, that's not necessarily healthy. They're doing a lot of, the performance athletes, there's a lot of damage being done, and the shredded people, especially females, like lots of weird hormone stuff can happen. And dudes, when they get super shredded too, are just depleted, and it's an aesthetic thing. It's not a general population thing. Anyways, moral of the story, and I'm gonna do several on mental health over time, with maybe more specific facts and whatnot, but moral of the story here, it's good to exercise, especially if you have symptoms of anxiety and depression. It doesn't take a ton if you aren't super trained. And if you are super trained and you're still experiencing that stuff, then, it could be, you could have other stressors on your plate. You could be overtraining. Be aware of that. I'm going to talk about that in another Meathead Minute too. But it's something that I want to start bringing awareness to and see what we can find out. Help some folks. Anyways, Meathead Minute. I'm out.